That was the wrong size. Okay.
Bless you.
Sorry. Thank you. All right. So, all right. Cool. So here we're going to have a title, image, and like the content of the blog. And we can have, this could be like a pop-up of a sort. We can just have this be a pop-up, which would be cool. Oh, that's not gonna work. Anyways, I'll just move all this over here. It's going underneath it for some odd reason. Anyways, we'll make this a pop-up. And so that'll be good for that wireframe for now. All right, and then this one, a little bigger. Well, where all the posts will be. So why don't we have the picture right here, title can be up here, and then the content will be here. And then we'll have that same thing be down here. Just be duplicate. So however many posts we have, that's what it'll be. And then with the pop-up that we're talking about, I'm thinking maybe we just have a little button up here that says add post. I don't want that font to be that big. Oh, here.
It's all relative right now, anyways.
Yeah, that's true. Just want it to look semi, not ridiculous. Like have an ad post right there. So then this will just be like a pop-up. Everything else will fade out. Let's see, what other functionality can we do for this? Anybody think of anything cool that would be good to know?
I'm out of ideas.
Okay.
Maybe like an edit post?
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna need an edit.
Yeah, we'll do an edit. That's good though. We need to put that in there. Let's do that. It will be on. It'll be somewhere. Probably down here somewhere. Yeah. So there'll be an edit. That's good, and then there'll also be a delete. Edit, delete. Let's go ahead and label these. So we know what these are. This will be the title, image, content, more posts. Cool. All right. I'm trying to think of what else we could do. Sorry for all the yawning. I don't try to. It's not that I'm not tired even. It's just, I don't know.
You're okay.
Trying to think of anything else we can do. Anybody have any ideas? I mean, we could come up with ideas on the way. You guys ever say anything? Oh, this would be cool. We do.
That's
You
what
can let me
happens.
know.
That's what happens anyways. Most development is iterative.
Yeah, a lot of times. But if we do that, we want to come back to this wireframe and map it out.
Yeah.
Because usually, because you have to be constantly altering it. You're supposed to be, at least. All right, so let's go ahead. I want to bring this into focus. Let's do a component tree. Okay, next we need to make a component tree. I don't remember which one I usually use. I typically use pen and paper, to be honest, so I'm not like super good at these, but hey, I do what I can do. I wonder if I can make a cut a tree in here. Yeah, this will be fine. All right. Let's see if I can. I used to be able to. I don't know. Anyways, let's just do it up here. App. So that'll be our first. Second will be dash. So we'll just call this one be dash. This will be posts display. Okay, on the post display, we're going to want all the posts. So this will be a post, a single post. So I'm going to make it non-plural to make it indicative that it means that it's going to be a single post that we map over. So we're going to be mapping over an array that will use this component to style, like set up the HTML for the post. I'm gonna put right here header. Wow. Header. Another thing we're gonna need to pop up, so we want to have a pop up, right? Is a input post inputs. Cool. Okay. So I think that's, let's see, can I make lines? Kind of. See, can I make lines? Nope. Oh, I can. What? It just said I could. Line. The heck? That's weird. I rotate it? Nope.
I would probably use something like Inkscape for this.
I know, I just didn't want to have to do anything.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because I've never, it's the only thing I've really used. Yeah, I can do that. Even though this probably isn't completely necessary, it is visually better. Okay. So there is a way you can look at it for a child-parent relationship. So with the post inputs, I do want it to be a child of this. Because this is where all the posts. So here I will, this will be state. I don't know why it's not letting me type in there. Oh, there it is. State. So this is where posts will be. This is where, that's mainly where posts on state are going to be. And that's where we're going to be altering state. Since we don't, that's the only place we really need it from app. If we did have another child component right here, we would need to probably store this state inside app. But yeah. Cool. So this is a pretty rough planning. I would normally plan it a lot more in depth if it wasn't such a simple project. They say the more planning you do, the more the weeks you will the more hours you spend planning, the weeks you're going to save coding. I don't know if you have heard that or anything yet. Or they say, oh no, they say the more weeks you spend coding saves you hours of planning.
For me, it's I come up with an idea. I have a rough imagination of what it's going to be like, and then I do what you're doing, and then I try to code up the simplest prototype to see if it's viable. Then I go back to the drawing board and start again if I need to.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So yeah. So let's go ahead and try to knock this out and see what we could do. Let's build out the server first. and then we will move into more of the front end. We'll have a posts array in the back end of objects of posts. We could actually, now that I'm thinking, we could have a little comments on each post, but we can add that in after the fact, because that will be a separate array of objects.
I think we should start simple.
Yeah, for sure. But if we have time at the end, that's when I'll do that. And then, yeah, what time is it? Okay. So let's code for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to give you guys a 10-minute break. So let's just start setting up the server. This is it. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and make some of our files. All right. So I'm gonna directory, call it server. Okay, and then I think that's all we need for that. And then cd into server. Now we're gonna go ahead and touch index.js. And then we're also gonna make, let's just go ahead and make a controller file. Touch control. Okay, cool. Is there any other files we would need? Let's go ahead and make. Oh, I can just do it down here. Okay. All right, so we're gonna need, let's bring up this part for a second. So we're gonna need a header, post display, post, and post input. So I'm just gonna put that off to the side for now. So touch, I can't see. It's over there. Okay. So post.js, post. Oh, should capitalize post dot css posts display dot js. Forgot to capitalize. Display dot css. Display post inputs. Input dot js and post inputs. Let's see, is this and header dot js header dot css. So let's check to see that all worked out. So my components folder, all of that, and this components folder needs to be a source. Cool. Awesome. What? What'd you say? So I have all our components all right now. We've got our server, index.js, and our controller. Let's go ahead and set up our server. Oh, need to run npmi though. npmi. Let's do Express, cores. What else is there? I always forget if there's any more. I think that's it. Well, just run it for now, just in case. Okay, let's go ahead and const express equals to require express and do const app equals express vote. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and do const cores equals let's do our top level middleware app.use express.json. Now we're going to do our course app.use course wrote. Listen, and we're going to take an import, find our function. That's in the console log.
Aaron, 1 second. What's cores?
It's just a lot of times we'll run into issues. You guys don't have to do that. I just do it because I don't actually exactly know what it does. I just know it's like a authentication for web browsers and stuff. Don't worry about it if they haven't taught you that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Doesn't really matter. I don't even really know exactly what it does. I just haven't looked into it very much. I thought about it, but I realized it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So we're going to do transport equals, let's do 3251. Cool. All right. Also, let's go ahead and set up our proxy in main. So we're going to need both of those. So this is in our package JSON. Need a main for, so we don't have to do node-mon server / index.js every time. HTTP. What was it? 4231. Double check that. Cool. So we got all that set up. NodeMon looks, we need to run NodeMon, but this looks good. Let's format this so it looks a little prettier. Cool. Let's run NodeMon, see what happens. But that doesn't make any sense. Oh. Huh. That was weird. Cannot read property. Oh, goodness. Can't find my. Oh, what? Let's comment that out for now. Alright, so that worked. Okay, cool. So now we got this set up. Let's go ahead and make a space for endpoints. There's going to be a few endpoints we're going to make. And they'll be down here. So let's go ahead and write out our endpoints. So first, we're going to want to app.get. We're going to want to get posts. So /API/posts, all the posts. So then we're also going to have a callback function here. Get all posts. So for sake of time, I'm going to make a couple more. This is going to be a post. This is going to be a delete. Let's make one more. This is going to be put. So these are all different, so technically they can have all the same name, so it doesn't matter. So this one is going to have an ID for the post. This is also going to have an ID. Okay, so those are all our endpoints. Like I said, it doesn't matter. You can have the same exact API post. See how these are exactly the same? Doesn't matter as long as these are different. Let's say I had a put, and this was also a put, and I didn't need this. That would not work. Because they have the first, like, it would get confused. If I ever tried to hit the delete endpoint, it would not work. It would hit the put first. It would hit the first one. And then if it was vice versa, it would hit that as well. it would just see it as not having ID. Okay. Cool. Also, all of these can have rec and res. So we know. All right, cool. And so these are the functions we know. We'll replace these eventually with our functions of our controller file. So let me bring that controller file in. Const. Let's just call this C. I like shortening everything. Require. What is it called? Slash controller. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead to our controller file and make this. So we're first going to want to. Hey Jordan.
Yeah.
Could you mute yourself while you're typing?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just relatively loud, but don't worry about it. I just wanted to make sure to let you know that that's happening. Okay, so let posts equal an array with objects in it. So there'll be objects. We'll make some dummy data, and I'll show you how I will do that. Let's actually go ahead and do that. Oh, actually, let's create the functions first. Okay. Module.exports equals. Okay. So we're going to do add post. Rec and res. Get all posts. Rec and res. Delete post. Edit post. And res. Cool. What else? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we got those written out. So now we know which ones we're going to write. Cool. So let's first do this. Res.status. Since we're just sending back that post array. 200 dot send posts. Very simple. Don't need any crazy things or anything. But that one's good. So add post is going to be a little different. We're going to have a rec.body. So const our rec.body will be title, content, and an image. start off with 1. Okay. So instead of doing this, we know what these are. This can be an object. It can be a name and title of themselves. Let's go ahead, instead of having to do all that, since we know what it's going to be, let's just comment this out. We don't need this. We can just do const new post equals, and let me know if this is a little confusing, ID. So that'll be part of the object, dot, dot, dot. I'm going to spread in rec.body. So that is the new post. And technically, I can do this. Instead of having to even do this, I can just do posts dot unshift. So this is going to put something in the front. I can do this, or I can just grab this, put it in here. But I don't need any of that. So after that, now I can do the same thing I did right here. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anybody have any questions why I did it like that?
I'm good.
It would be okay if you did. I just was curious.
I'm good.
Yeah, I like doing it as shorthand as possible. One of the things I do like doing, actually, though, is having this. Just as a indicator of what rec.body is. Because if you ever have to change anything, it's good to have the data as rec.body if you're just going to use rec.body. Because it will get a little confusing if you have 30 items in that rec.body or something crazy like that. Which usually you don't. Usually you don't want it to have that many items in it. But sometimes this is how it works out. But just to let me know what rec.body we like having that.
Cutting out a little bit.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, so far. I'll let you know.
Okay, let's see my settings. All right, so for add post, that should work great. For a delete post, let's go ahead. So here in index.js, we can see we set up a parameter. So this little colon is indicating that this endpoint has parameters or params. And that is accessible off of rec. So rec.params.id is a thing. If I name this no ID, I would have to access off of no ID off of rec.params. So here is where you're defining whatever rec.params is called. So a lot of times you get screwed up because you have, eventually when you get into database and stuff, you'll have a user ID. But on your database, you don't have it named as user ID. So you're trying to use it as user ID, and it's not. It's all about the naming and where you name it. So I'm just going to name it ID to be as simple as possible. I try to always do that unless I have to identify what it is. So let's go ahead and take that off of const.
So you're saying that when it comes to like the server, just keep the ID conceptually as the unique identifier, and from there you branch it out. Because we're talking about naming conflicts.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because sometimes you'll run into it less and less as you progress in your career, but you will run into it that you're trying to access. Like, for example, if I had a post that it was called post ID, that was one of the key value pairs, instead of it just being ID. And then I come over here and I name this ID. So when I destructure this, which I'm going to do this anyway, ID equals rec.params. Or maybe I was like, oh, I need to destructure the post ID off of rec.params. So I'm going to do post here. That's wrong. That's not going to work because on rec.params, you defined it as ID, not post ID. I'm just saying sometimes people get confused where this comes from off of rec.params. And the naming convention comes from whatever you name it here.
I see.
And it's a very thing I've run into people getting confused by. I even was confused by it at the very beginning till it finally clicked. But
all right, we're good now.
Okay, ID off of rec.params. So this is a little complex one. Because now we have to find it. So we're going to have to use some higher order methods, finding the index, or something of the sort. We are going to need to find the index. We need to delete it off the post. So let's go ahead and use the find index function. So we're going to do posts dot find index. So I like using this, the little box that pops up, so then we can kind of try to figure it out. I mean, I did it at the very beginning. I don't really necessarily need it anymore. But what this function is going to do, it's going to loop over whatever array you put it on, whatever prototype it is of what array you're using. And it's going to return the index. So that means I need to set this equal to index equals. So I'm going to do element.id equals ID. I'm going to put this as a plus because a lot of times it will not work right. I'm just going to put both of them as a plus. No, I should be good with that one. I don't need a plus there. Just this one. Okay, so that should find the index. And so now we are going to delete it, but we're going to use the method twice. So this takes start number, which is index, comma, and we only want to delete one. Okay. After this, I'm going to want to, once we actually run this, which I forgot to download Postman, which is a mistake. I want to console and posts. we're gonna res dot status 200. Send post. Cool. So edit post is going to be very simple. Only difference is just we're not going to delete it. So why don't we go ahead and just take this 2 lines. All right. How about we take a 10-minute break before we move on? So just get back at now. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Wait, what time? 25?
Oh, yeah. So 10:25. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I was looking at my clock and that's not right.
Oh, no. It's just I didn't know how long.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So 10:25, and then we'll be back.
Cool.
I've already organized my file. So I'm going to define my models here. I'm going to end up importing them.
Hey, Jordan.
Yeah?
Is the recording working?
Yeah, I've been recording the whole time. It's also been streaming on YouTube.
Oh, and it captures his voice too, right? Sound.
Yeah, it should be capturing the desktop audio as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'll send them a raw recording as well as the link. One on YouTube will probably contain me typing.
All right. Thanks.
Anytime. Postman. So I was thinking I could test at least the return types and the response structure. I don't really want to have to. I don't really want to have to use Postman if I don't have to. Because, like, I've never tried it before. It might be easier to write tests in Postman. But that requires the server to be set up, everything. I mean, I can do the testing like that. But it introduces another tool. It just depends. I guess it just depends on what the industry. My thing is, I don't want to have to click a run button. I just want to save something, have it run the test suite over and over again, depending on the target. I don't know, like Postman determine data structure. Also, I need to validate responses during runtime. It's not enough to test the responses to a set of data. So they'd be like, oh yeah, it's fine. No, man. You gotta do the validation also, I think at runtime. It's like, yeah, it's like having your teacher look over your shoulder and everything's good, and then you go. Then it's up to you, hoping that they taught you right, versus having a list of rules, forcing them time every time they're asked a question, right? So, you can't really use Postman's tests inside of the application. So that's kind of why I've gone with like a validation library. One that I could maybe use to generate schemas and stuff. I'm not sure. But one question I need to ask. So I guess it is the industry. So I need to ask the teacher. Are you guys pushing Postman because it's a favorite or because it's the industry standard? Because if it is standard, then I guess I should be standard. And then in my tests, this one, I can at least test the response codes and everything. Like that's just one option. But if I did that, I would want to use Newman. I would want it to be fully automated. Like, I want to be editing a route in a folder, and I want it to run collection for that folder. I want to know that my server still works right when I make a change and it works to the specification I've designed. And I don't want to have to test every route as my application goes huge. Maybe there are two routes that are tied in together and changing the specification of one breaks another. You need to know that everything still works, and it needs to be able to be done automatically as much as possible in every release, because I'm only one developer. I am only one set of hands, and if I'm sitting here trying to build a product, only a few people under my belt, we may have, in a startup, you may have one person who's writing the actual product, and one person who's testing the product, and one person who's designing the product, maybe one person who's in sales, maybe a couple people. And, you know, it just makes more sense to have some of it automated. As the application scales and grows huge, the amount of time it takes to require to test every feature by hand, especially if it's basically the same thing every time, that's just dumb, in my opinion. So, like, I like Postman's GUI. I like the fact that you can run tests, but I need to know that I can automate those as much as possible. That's the point. Is if I'm gonna test the same thing every time with every part of my application, I need to at least be able to say that I can run them with one entry on the one or two entries on the command, and it do 30 minutes worth of work in like 10. That's what I'm going. And even if it was still 30 minutes of work, I need to be able to say, hey, let's take that 30 minutes of work, put it on the computer next to me. I'm going to continue iterating on this product, and I'm going to continue iterating and developing on a different feature. And my computer over here in 30 minutes is going to tell me whether or not that works or not. And when I get the response from that computer, I'm going to save, and I'm going to test what I already have done on the feature I was developing. And that allows me to iteratively develop while something is still being tested. So I'm not sitting there with my hands tied at my computer, going out and getting coffee. That would be nice, but when your boss is like, hey, dude, we have a deadline. Well, why isn't anything done? And well, it takes 3 hours to test a feature now because it's so complicated. Do it faster. I can automate some of the tasks, and it'll cut down by a third of the time. If you allow me to automate as possible, I'll spend a third of that time to save 2/3 of that over the long haul. But you are right, it is more maintenance. But once you finish a feature, for that version, if you've got other features you need to work on, you can at least be confident that your code works. Somewhat confident, Besides, you could have someone come along and be like, hey, I altered this test. Your specification says is the same, but I tested it more thoroughly, and I found that this thing broke. And you're like, let me see that. Oh yeah, that looks like something the user could actually do. Let's fix that. Instead of prove it to me. How? What? Why? That's why I've been spending the last 2 weeks trying to get that out of the way.
All right, everybody.
I'm here.
Cool. All right. So now we're going to start making the edit functionality. Already got the first part. It's the same thing. So it's going to run that different function. And then now that we have the index, what we're going to do, we'll also have the same direct.body here. And then we'll have the ID as params. So how would you do that? That makes actually, I know. We're going to do the same. It's going to be a combination of add and this. So we're going to do posts at index equals. So we're just going to reassign. So that's why I did let post up here. Post at index equals ID and rec body. Oops. So we're just gonna take that and set it equal to a new object, and it will replace itself. And we're gonna do a res.status 200 send. Send posts. Cool. Anybody have any questions about any of this? Anybody see any potential issues that I might have introduced into the code?
I don't see anything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily it'll work, but in my mind, it does seem like it will probably work. But I downloaded Postman while during the break, so now we'll be able to test them. But first, we need to add these to our index.js. So I'm going to make this aside. So we have this. You don't necessarily need to do this. We'll just, I don't know why I decided I was going to write that out. Let's replace them with FN. Can't do that. I would. Okay. So for delete post, we have c.delete post. For edit, we have c.edit post. For add, we have c.add post. C.get all posts. Cool. So let's go ahead and try test these endpoints with Postman. We have NodeMon running, which is good. Okay, that's not it. Is it? This one. Why does it do that? You want to get rid of this? F. There. Cool.
To get rid of the panels, you just have to close all of the tabs on your panel.
Wait, what do you mean?
You were trying to get your panels to go away? Yeah.
No, I was trying to get these back. The tops.
Oh,
It's like
I don't think
F10
you can.
or something.
I don't think you can hide the.
Yeah, you can. Like that.
Oh,
F11.
cool.
F11 hides the file bar. On my computer, at least. Cool. So let's make a new request. So let's just first do the get all post. So let's do http://local. I don't remember what I did for it though. Oh, 3241. API /posts. Okay, let's try that. All right, could not get any response. Did I write it right? Oh, crashed. Cool. That's exactly what we have in our post. So that worked perfect. Awesome. So let's go ahead and try to add post. This will be good. So with our add functionality, look at what we need. Add post. We need a title, content, and image. Okay. So we have a post, API post, that's right. Now we need a body. It's going to be raw, and then it's going to be JSON. And so we're going to have title. The title will be first post. Next will be content. Whoops. That's fine. Content. Content will be this is the very first post I have written. G. The image, let's grab a random image. Cool. Okay, and I think that's all we need. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so we can see we're getting our posts. It goes to the top. We have an ID of 1. Let's go ahead and send it again and see if we get, it'll be the same thing, but let's see if the ID, oh, that reminds me. Missed something. ID plus. So the next one's still going to be 1. But then we send 2, we get 2. So that is working properly. Let's go ahead and try to delete the post. So it's the same thing, /. We'll just do, let's do number 1. See if we can delete that one. Okay. And it deletes it. That's actually really good. Let's edit post. It'd be quite as hard to edit. Let's edit number 2. So this actually This was the set and post. This is off the very first post I ever. Cool. Oops. Cool. So that should change this. Uh-oh. Deleted it. Because I still had it on delete. Whoops. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna do a post. Got this. And see if it works. What? Oh, that's fine. Cool. Now I have that. Third. We have put on. Did not change it. Nope, it's not working. So let's figure that out. So edit post. Let's go ahead. What happened?
Hey, Aaron, your screen,
Yep.
your screen got switched up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it back. What the heck? Oh no.
Wait, try control left arrow.
I think it literally exited out of everything.
It looked like it went to a different window.
That's
I
what
don't
I
know.
thought. But
Try clicking on the task view next to the Cortana symbol.
there's nothing open. That's the problem. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it switched to another desktop.
That was weird. That was really bizarre. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and console log right here, the index. See if we're getting an index. Or let's actually console log this. No more crashed. That's it. Just deleted it. There it is. So that's working actually. That actually works. It was just because NodeMon had crashed. So everything's working right, which is good. I'm surprised there isn't any more errors. Got lucky. Anybody have any questions about everything I've done with this?
Sounds like the refresher we've had up to this point.
Say that again.
It sounds like a refresher for everything we've done up to this point.
Cool. Awesome. Cool.
So far we don't have any actual data. We're just testing with like empty array.
Yeah. The only data we have right now is this. So I actually am going to show you. Have you used Makaru yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
Mockery.
I'm going to show you Makaru. So I'm going to do this right now with you guys. I use this a lot, and it's really good for data. So here is the ID.
I'm
we
gonna
have an
love
ID.
this.
We don't need a first name. So let's change that to
Nice.
Title. Let's see, there's a lookup. Movie title. All right, we're going to use movie titles for the titles of our posts, which could be funny. Did I spell title right? I did not. If I ever misspell something, let me know, because I suck at spelling. Title is going to be content.
Could you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah. Is that better?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. And then let's do paragraph. It's going to be at least one, but no more three. That's fine. Okay. And then what else? Oh, image. IMG. So they don't really have images, but they'll have like spacing, dummy image URL. Just want them all to be one size. And we have 100. Okay. Awesome.
Is this something you used for your NoDB project, or is this something you learned after Dev Mountain?
I did it. I actually, but it's useful because look, you can change the format to JSON,
Oh.
so you can have an array, and then you can make 1,000 rows. I'm not gonna do 1,000. I'll probably do 20, and then I can preview the data, and there's all my data.
It would be really cool if Mockaroo even had an API. You could...
Yeah, that would be. So yeah, so see how I have all this data now.
Mm-hmm.
It's very useful. Let's go ahead and copy and paste this. It is in JSON, so which is fine, but I'll probably convert it to JSON. Yeah, there it all is. So how I can do that, I'm just going to do this. Oh, that won't work.
I mean, JSON is valid JavaScript.
I know. I just like having it consistent. And it's really not that hard. Okay. Now it's all. Now it's just. Oh, is it an array of arrays? What the?
You already had an array and you posted.
Oh, I'm so confused. All right, that makes sense. All right, cool. And then
Come
I'm
back
gonna change.
to us.
I'm gonna change my ID to, because that's where we're gonna be starting off. So whenever I add one, I want a new. It's not the same IDs.
So just to be clear, it was in JSON and you changed it to normal array?
Yeah, an array of objects. But like he said, it is normal, like it is JavaScript. You can use it. Do you guys want me to copy and paste this and send it to you?
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Oh, that was not what I want to do.
Also, I'm running into something weird for the ad post. It just keeps replacing the one I had.
Okay. 1 second. You're in 29, right?
Yes.
Okay. I sent it as a text file in the WDL 29 chat. Do you want to share your screen so I can see what's...
Sure, 1 second.
Yeah, sometimes you can't use Makaru because sometimes it doesn't have the right values. But you can always just create it and have a place for the values and then just type in the byte values individually that you need. For example, if you want real pictures, you're going to have to do that because Makaru won't do those kind of pictures. You'll see the pictures when I show you. They'll be like dummy images and stuff. But I'm gonna open up Postman one more time and run a Git just to see if we get all of those.
Okay. How do I'm trying to share my screen, but it's only sharing the
Is that Postman?
Yeah, I'm trying to share my Postman.
That is, I can see your Postman. Oh no, that's not Postman. I can see your dummy data right now.
Let me switch screen. Let me try again. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
So I guess I should get it first. Okay, it's getting the data.
Press pretty up top right.
Oh, okay. That might be the reason why.
When you have it as raw, it's really hard to read.
Yeah. it only showed one post when I was like messing with it.
No worries.
This wouldn't. No.
Is my server broken?
Oh. Huh.
It work?
You got duplicates.
Oh, I think it's because of the way we wrote our ID.
Okay.
So I just tried to add a new post.
Oh, yeah, it might be a duplicate. That could be it.
So if we already have data in the post, the current logic won't exactly work.
Yeah, so you just restart your node mon.
Okay.
And then you should be good.
All right, we'll try that. But the way the current logic is written, ID is set to 1, so...
Yeah, so if you look at mine, I changed mine.
Oh, okay.
If you look right here at the top, I changed it to 21.
21?
Because I have 20, so the last ID is 20. So I want to make sure it's 21, so I'm not duplicating it.
That makes sense. I just didn't know we did that.
Yeah, sorry, I should have more. Cool.
Sure.
Does that make sense to everybody? Mocker is a really useful tool for starting a project. Saves a lot of time. I've seen people spend hours trying to make dummy data. Like, I know it sucks having to have a dummy image rather than a normal, but to be honest, when you're developing, it does not matter until the end when you're styling, because you want to get all your functionality done first, just with your NodeDB, and then the last day, that's when you should style, make your dummy content a little better. But I personally would use Mocker until that point, just so you can get the GET requests, all the post requests, get everything functioning properly before you spend a lot of time on stuff that can be done outside of class when the mentor's available and that type of stuff. But
That's a great tip. Thank you for that. Also, the thing that we just copied and pasted in controller, the data, can we have that in a different separate tab and then pull it in here so it's not
definitely
too many codes?
Yeah, what I do a lot of times is I minimize it.
But yeah, you could.
I know it's an array of objects
too,
so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, you could definitely put it in and then require it. You have to make sure and require it. So what you do, I can just do it. You can say data, and it depends on it. Since it's in JS, you call JS. If it was in JSON, you do JSON. Like that. But I'm just going to call JS since I transferred it. Do that. Can I do an export lat? That's weird. Okay. I think you could do it like that, and then const data equals wire data slash data. Let's log. Yeah, let's see where that gives us. I'm going to go ahead and use post to run this. What did I put it on? Get all this, yeah. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, see how I can get all the data? So instead, I'm going to call this post and call whatever I want. Okay. Now I'm going to run this again. Let's go ahead and, oh, that's not the same thing. Can't clear it without restarting it. Let's run this. We get all our posts, and it all works. We get everything here as well. So yeah, you definitely can do that. So you can just do a module export. If you want it to be, you can obviously have JSON if you want, so you don't have to convert it like I did. And you can do data.json.
Thank you.
And if you do data.json, you can just have an array of objects.
And you just required it in the
Yeah, like this. Required it from that file, module export, so I can call it whatever I'm calling posts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've done that before. I just usually too lazy. But that works. Oh, good question. Is there any other questions? I would be happy to answer them.
I'm good right now.
All right. So now that we have all this, we have our back end fully built out for the time being. I don't think there's anything else we need to add at this moment. I think with this, we can do a lot on the front end. We have our components all mapped out. Yeah, we just start building. Whew. Okay, cool. So now let's go ahead and let's just start building out the components. I'm not going to style at all, but I will run node on and npm start for development. So I'll have this really small. So. Okay, cool. I'm going to have my console down here so then you can see this and this without it being too big. But let's go ahead and build out our header.js. So we're going to import React from React. And then we're going to also, let's go ahead and import our header.css. So header, all it needs to be a functional component. I don't want it to be anything but a functional component. Make this a function declaration so I can do export default function header. I don't think I'm going to need props for this. This is going to return JSX. And the JSX is just going to be a div. And then it's going to be a title. Let's call it blah WLDs log. Cool. Let's go ahead and render this in here so we can see it. Import header from /components /header. Set up app. You see WLD's blog. Okay, cool. So that's good. Okay, so we have the header done. Let's go ahead and make the post inputs. So we're going to need this to be a class component, correct? Everybody can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I was just making sure. I didn't hear any response for a while. All right, import. Let's do React from React. Let's go ahead and this will be constructor component. React. Let's do a export default class. And we're going to call this post inputs. Post, oh my goodness, I'll type today. Extends. So we're going to need a state. So let's go ahead and make our constructor. That's super. And then this dot state equals. And so what we're going to need for these right now is, because we already know they're for the inputs. So we're going to need a title input. And that's going to be an empty string. We're going to need a title input, a content input. Let's just say content I. I like shorthanding everything, so tell me if it's too confusing. We're going to need an image I, and that's also going to be. We're going to need one more thing actually, because this inputs are also, I'm going to make it dynamic for not only inputs, adding, I want to do it for editing as well. So I want it to pop up when I'm adding and also pop up when I'm editing. But I want it to be able to know what I'm editing. Editing ID. So what I'm going to do, bring in props into these. I'm just going to set this to props dot. I'll call this selected post editing. I just want it to be very explicit what it is. So I'm just going to make it a little, but that's okay because it's on this like this. So how I want to do this is, if basically this is either going to be a number or it's going to be undefined. If it's undefined, we know we're adding. If it's not, so if this is false, we will be adding. If this is true, we won't be adding. So that will be a way we can put a ternary in there saying if it is not, we're going to be editing. Cool. Does that make sense?
Do you remember if an empty string counts as truthy or falsy? Do you remember if an empty string counts as truthy or falsy?
It's falsy. Did you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, I heard you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. The only things that are an empty array and truthy.
You cut out. Can you repeat that?
An empty object and an empty array are truthy values.
Cool.
Just to let you know. Okay. So let's go ahead and make some inputs for this. So I know that all of them are going to have a placeholder. We'll make them empty for now. They're all going to have a value. Just going to make that a string, even though it's not supposed to be a string. It'll error. I don't want to error right now. It's going to have a name. It's going to be a string. And then it's going to have an on change. And it's going to be a function, an arrow function that takes an E. And I'm going to call it handle change. That's what he always calls it, E.target. Just pass an E.target. Okay. So we're going to need 3 of these. What's wrong? Oh, crap. Need to end it first. I need to do 3 of those. And then I'm going to need a button. Button. I'm going to call this a submit. Or I'm also going to have another one that says save. Editing. Okay, so placeholder is obviously going to be title. This one's going to be content, right? Content. Actually, we should do image first, right? That makes more sense. This will be content. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change this content to text area. Does everybody know what text area is?
Yeah, text area is a big box that allows you to type a bunch of text in it.
Cool. Good job. I'm going to deconstruct state, so then I have all these values. Okay.
Are you missing a comma?
Yeah, I am. Thank you for catching that. I'm trying to figure out why I couldn't get that. Oh, and I'm having extra M. So value is going to be all of these. Title. They're also going to be the name. Okay, so I'm going to make this dynamic. I showed everybody this yesterday, but some of them said they hadn't seen it. Might as well show you guys and explain again. I do not like making more than one function for each input. And this is a very useful tool to have to not have to avoid anything like that.
So basically you define one input and then you do an arrow function and bridge the two together.
And within the handle change, I'm going to use the to dynamically set state.
Oh yeah, so you give like basically a key, right?
I'll just show this handle change. So I'm taking in the target since I did eat at target. So I'm just going to target. I'm going to const to deconstruct the name and value off of target. And I'm going to do this dot set state. So what I need to do, because the name is what I want to change, right? Mm-hmm. The name is the same exact thing as the state. Title I, which is title input, content, image I. They're all the same. And so I'm going to use the name in front here. But if I do this, this will not work. Does anybody know why this will not work?
You don't have a name in your state.
Exactly. So what this state does, these are strings. When I set state, it reads this new object that I'm replacing this with as a string. And so name is a string. But the name, the value of name right here is whatever input I'm editing, right? It's either title I, or it's image I, or content I. And so one of the ways you're able to resolve it is with square bracket notation, like that. So if you wrap it in square brackets, it's going to resolve itself to a string, whatever the value is. If name was not a what's it called? A variable, it would just resolve it to whatever this. Does that make sense?
So it would say in that object, in case of the first one, the name would be title I, and it would say title I is value.
Yeah, exactly. And value is whatever I'm typing.
Gotcha.
Cool. Does that make sense to everybody, or do I need to explain it again? I'm happy to explain it again.
One more time, please.
Okay, for sure. So this is just a good way of dynamically making one function for all your inputs. So you can see what I put down here, value equals title at I, right up here. So this is the initial value of title. And it's the default value of this input. So what happens with inputs, though, is as soon as you type, the value changes. So once the value changes, it's supposed to update whatever this value down here is. Because if it doesn't, it's just going to revert back to an empty string. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. And so now I put a handle change function on it, and it always takes an E. And e.target is what I'm passing into that function. E.target is this whole tag. Whatever I highlighted, that's what e.target is. So on e.target's object, I have access to the placeholder, the value, the name, and also the function. I have access to all of those on e.target. And so when I pass that into this function, I have this as a set up as a parameter. And I'm passing e.target as an argument. So the target has name and value. So when I am typing into this input, what's going to happen is this name is going to be this. The value is going to be whatever I'm typing. And so when I type, it knows this name. And since I did this, it's going to replace this for title at I equals value, which is whatever I'm typing. And so I'm setting state of title at I equal to value, whatever I'm typing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And
awesome.
so
Thank you.
that works for that one. And then this input is the same thing. Name. Whenever I type into this input, I'm replacing it for that. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just trying to break it down as simple as possible, and also using visual to help you understand. So does anybody else understand that or don't understand that?
I'm good.
Okay. Cool.
Charlie, you good?
Yeah.
I thought you were asleep there. Just kidding.
No, I'm eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah, on break I had a bunch of what's it called? Pancakes. Good. It's good.
Peanut butter
Cool.
jelly time, everybody.
Peanut butter jelly time. That Family Guy in here. Okay, cool. So that should be good for this component for now. Oh, I need an on. I'll just do the on click. So let's go ahead and just make the button for adding first. The save is for like editing, and I'll just put a ternary on this when that comes to time. Okay, so we're gonna do add post, and invoke that. Oh, it's gonna be this side post. Okay. I just realized something. I mean, I have arrow functions down here, but I like having arrow functions up here, just in case if I forget. So add post. This is an arrow function. I have access to state. Okay. So need to bring in Axios because we're in Axios. Import Axios from Axios. Okay, let's go ahead and do the Axios call. Axios.post. I just realized something. We can't have this in here. We're gonna have to pass it through props. Since this is not on what we need it to be on. So that won't work for now. How about we take cool.
Wait, what?
Another 10-minute break.
Yay.
Okay, because you kind of cut off near the end.
Okay, sorry. Let's take like a 5 to 10. You
cut
can just
out
put
again.
just put on put yourself on mute, and then when you get back, just put yourself off of mute or something like that. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Was post.id. One second, guys. I turned on something that I should not. Okay. I turned on text to speech on accident. So every time I got a message from any channel, it would read it out to me. It was so annoying. I've been doing it for a day and I just keep putting it off, and then it just gets more. Anyways, so now I have a key on that, so then I don't get that pesky warning that doesn't have the property, needs a key or whatever. And so now you can see I have an edit and delete button. Obviously, they don't work yet because I don't have the functionality put onto them. And actually, I can put the functions, since they are, is there an issue with that though? I think I can put the functions in the post. Just have to change this up a little.
I'm actually having an issue getting the data.
Oh, you are?
Mine is trying to get it from localhost 3000, which is why.
No, it defaults to that. That's what React does. So it's probably you're getting an error. What does it say? Does it say 404?
Yeah, it says 404.
Yeah, so it might be your spelling.
Okay.
So go to your index.js. So I'll do it with you. So when it's 404, it means it's trying to find this. So it could be this that your nodemon is not on. Could be that. Or it could be the spelling.
Okay.
So
wait, this is the server one? Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, go to your index.js, no worries.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're doing a GET request, so I would do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then go to your post display and paste it right here. Make sure you're getting.
Unless you've set up your proxy with React, you're going to have to explicitly specify the host and port.
Yep. So in your package JSON, you need your proxy to say this. Just your proxy.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. Yeah, I walked you guys through it. That's why I didn't say anything. That was the next thing I was going to ask. But is this the same as what's in your index.js?
Let me check. Yeah, it's the same.
Okay. And so, is your NodeMon running? Does it say listening on port, whatever you have the port on?
Yeah, let me double check. Maybe I should just restart that.
Yeah, restart your NPM mon.
Yeah, it's listening on it. Let me see.
Restart.
I'll restart npm.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, now I'm getting an issue. It says when proxy is specified in package.json, it must start with, oh, okay.
HTTP :
Yeah, I think I might have mistyped something there. I forgot the colon.
Yeah, that would do it.
Huh. I'm still not getting anything.
What is it saying? 404 still?
Now it says 500.
Yeah, so that's a different error. So is your node mon?
My node one should be on. Unless it
You should
crashed.
always have it like this. So you should just split it. So then
Okay.
you have both on your same thing. You shouldn't have to toggle between each one.
Gotcha.
So if you have to toggle, go ahead and kill your node mon, go to
Okay.
your npm, and then split it with this character right here.
1 second.
And then it's just that is best practice because I want to be able to see if either crashing.
Right.
And if you have to toggle between them, it's just fine.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
still doing the 500.
Yeah. So why don't everybody take an early lunch? It's only 7 minutes, so it's really not that early. And be back by 1:30 your time. I'm starting to convert it to Central Time. And I will help you out with that while other people watch it. It should take only a couple minutes. But can you screen share so I
Yeah.
can see what